And we're back with Brian Schmidt, winemaker at Vineland Estates Winery, and we're talking Cool Climate Chardonnay. The event just kicked off today, the International Festival. Brian, of course, is part of that, along with more than 50 other winemakers. Brian, what event are you looking forward to the most at the festival this weekend?
Well, actually, a small correction. For us, the event actually started last evening, where we had a chairman's dinner at Vineland Estates Winery, where all of the winery representatives and the winemakers and their spouses, in some cases, came to Vineland Estates, and we all gathered together for an opportunity to get to know each other, to get to taste each other's wines, because over the next couple of days, we're all going to be working pretty hard and not having an opportunity to spend too much time together. And so we just got together and we tasted everybody's wines and had a really great time. But for myself, the entire event is really amazing. There's so many opportunities for people to learn about Chardonnay, to learn about cool climate Chardonnay. As you mentioned earlier, there are many different blending events. There's a extreme winemaking seminar that's going on this morning at Brock University.
What does extreme winemaking mean? What extreme?
Well, and that's going to be debated today, actually. So at the end of this, at the end of the extreme winemaking seminar, the session, they'll probably come up with a great answer for you. But that's currently being hotly debated. As well as there's other events that are happening throughout the region. I believe there's about 8 different wineries that are having luncheons throughout the weekend as well. We have a great concert tonight at Jackson Triggs, where all of the participants and all of the winemakers will be gathering and tasting the wines. But for me, the one that I enjoy, I'm looking forward to the most, and I think I'm really going to enjoy, is the Chardonnay World Tour. It's a Beyond the Barrel dinner that 7 winemakers, myself and 6 other winemakers, have pulled themselves out of the vineyard, pulled themselves out of the cellars, and will be actually cooking for all of the participants. I believe we're at 500 now that are going to be coming to this event tomorrow evening at the Vineland Innovation Center, where we're going to be backstopped by Eric Peacock from Wellington Court Cafe in St. Catharines, who's a fantastic chef and just a really great guy. He's helped us prepare some menu items that people will be enjoying and pairing with Cool Climate Chardonnay. So this event will have all of the participants, all of the winemakers, and all 110 wines that are being celebrated here over the next couple of days at that event. So I'm really looking forward to that event.
Wow, that sounds like a hedonist's dream. Let's talk about food and wine pairings when it comes to Cool Climate Chardonnay. Maybe make our mouths water with some of the dishes that you and the others will be serving over the weekend.
Gosh. You know what, we've got a pretty great menu lined up. Myself, I'll be doing Ontario pickerel with a celeriac remoulade, which is going to be a perfect pairing for Cool Climate Chardonnays. And
why is that a perfect pairing?
Well, the natural oils that are found in the Ontario Lake Erie pickerel, the natural oils kind of coat the tongue, and then you have this bright, refreshing Chardonnay that is able to layer on top of that and create just a succulent texture in your mouth. And to me, wine really is all about texture, and food is all about texture as well as aroma and taste for sure. But when you think of something like sushi as an example, it's fantastic texture, and you can really pair amazing wines and amazing Cool Climate Chardonnays with sushi as well. I digress. However, the event itself will also have Ross Wise from Flat Rock Cellars is doing a lobster mac and cheese. Again, you're going to get that creamy, rich texture. And
so it's lobster mixed in with the mac and cheese?
I'm not entirely certain. I haven't yet been privy to the recipe, and I'll be tasting that tomorrow night. But it just sounded absolutely amazing when we were all sitting together a number of months ago, putting together our menu ideas. Ross popped this one into the mix, and we all began salivating. So it was
oh my goodness,
it's going to be a lot of fun. We also have a seafood paella that's being done. And oopsie, sorry, we have this little fly who's buzzing around who's wanting to be part of the conversation.
Cool Climate Chardonnay, yeah.
He really does. So yeah, the dinner tomorrow night is just going to be a tremendous amount of fun. It's going to be, I guess, 2 or 3 hours of, as you said, hedonist eating and drinking.
And do people wander around, or do they sort of sit down, or just sit where they like, kind of thing?
Exactly. It's going to be people just wandering around, chatting with each other. There are tables available that they can sit down, but the food stations itself will be more of a grazing concept, where people will be able to walk up and chat with the winemakers and chat with all of the people that put the event together. Harold Teal and Dorian Andrews has done an absolutely amazing job putting this together, so they'll be there as well.
It reminds me of the International Pinot Noir Festival down in Oregon. I love that communal sense, that sort of swapping bottles and just being able to meet the winemakers, to talk to the people who are making the wines. It's unlike traditional wine and food shows. I think this is a great concept for really getting to know a particular style of wine.
Yeah, you know what, you're absolutely right. In fact, this event has been modeled to a significant degree over the IPNC, the International Pinot Noir Conference in Oregon. After attending that particular conference, some of the initial organizers of I4C, Harold Teal and Thomas Bachfelder, all got together in Thomas's backyard one evening and said, we really need to find a way to celebrate Ontario Chardonnay, and what can we do? So they began putting this concept together about 4 years ago. Now this is year number 2 for us, and it is certainly growing organically. And the opportunity to have people interact with winemakers and chefs is really very, very interesting. It's also rewarding for me as a winemaker, because I get to see firsthand people's comments, and we're able then to receive those comments and place that into the wine stylings that we produce in the future. And so it's important for us to have that interaction as well.
Sounds like a happy cycle.
It really is.
Okay, which wine of yours are we tasting today? Can you show us?
Well, you have it. I didn't bring that one, actually.
Oh, okay.
To be honest with you, I'm sitting in Henry Pelham's wine store right now. They've been gracious enough to let me use their technology. And so I'd be happy to pull out a Henry Pelham wine. These guys make great wine here, as well as, incidentally, they make great cappuccino as well.
Just throwing that in.
Just throwing it in. They got a great machine in the back. So I know that you have in front of you, I believe it's our 2011 Unoaked Chardonnay.
Chardonnay, yes.
That wine is.
Go ahead.
That wine is widely available in the LCBO system. We've had a tremendous amount of success with that particular wine, due in part, I think, to the success of I4C last year as well. We poured that at the first I4C. Tony Asper wrote about it in his article that following week, and we definitely saw a spike in sales. So for us, Chardonnay has not traditionally been our focus. Vineland Estates really is a Riesling house. But we've seen this cool climate Chardonnay, we've seen this fresh style of Chardonnay that, as you said earlier, emulates to a certain degree the style of Riesling that we produce. And so it became a natural for us to do stainless steel fermentation, cool fermentation, very little manipulation with oak, keeping the natural bright acidity present in the wine, and again, embracing some of the mineral elements that we have on our property, the limestone and the clay that our grapes are grown in, lend those attributes beautifully to that minerality. So this is a really great wine. It's $12.95 in the LCBO, so it's not an expensive wine. It's certainly one that you can enjoy on a regular basis, and I would strongly encourage you to do that.
Well spoken. Well, way to slip in the ad.
There you go. There you go. So no, it's a fantastic wine, and I would tell you that my father, who's been involved in the Canadian wine industry for some 65 years, this is his table wine, and he absolutely loves it at his house. Yeah,
it is lovely. And okay, so while I'm tasting and you're watching me taste, tell me about your most memorable Chardonnay experience, cool climate Chardonnay experience.
Oh gosh, Natalie, that's an interesting question. There's so many experiences that I could speak about. One that comes to mind for me, I spend a tremendous amount of time in the vineyard with our crews. This time of year, probably 80% of my time is spent in the vineyard, just understanding what's happening with the vintage and the decision that we make. We're constantly sort of tuning the dials of the radio in terms of grape growing, and that's really important for us. And so the time that I spend there, I get to spend with our vineyard crew. And occasionally, and maybe every second or third Friday, what we'll do is we'll sit down at lunch together, and I'll bring out some of the wines that we've recently produced, have our vineyard staff taste these wines so they can understand what it is that they're doing, the efforts that they're putting in the vineyard, and how that's translated into the bottle. It's important for me to have them understand that. And so this past year, just after we had bottled the 2011 Chardonnay, there was a real epiphany for some of the people that had been with us for a couple of years, where they truly began to understand the efforts that they engage in the vineyard, and how that's translated into the bottle, and their eyes widened and big smiles came on their face, and they really began to understand what cool climate Chardonnay is and what it is that we're hoping to achieve. So that was a great day for me.
That's awesome, and just that seems to be the whole point of this festival too. Really getting to know from the dirt up where these wines come from, because they are marvelous. Thank you so much for joining me today, Brian. And I think you're allowed to go off camera now and go get yourself some Cool Climate Chardonnay.
I'm gonna knock on Ron's office here at Henry Bell and see just what he has hanging out in his back room.
And enjoy the festival this weekend.
Oh, we're so looking forward to it. We're going to miss you. We wish you could come down and spend some time with us, and hopefully you can see it in your schedule next year to come and visit us.
Absolutely. I'm there in spirit.
Oh,
doing
you
the video
are for sure.
Next year. I'll be there in real life. Wow.
No, you've been a fantastic supporter of Ontario, and we really appreciate everything that you do. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. Have fun.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers.